Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. 2021 is almost over and this year brought a lot of interesting new houses and fragrances, and I thought I'd share with you some of the favorite new releases that came out this year. So if you'd like to know what those are, then keep watching. Now this year I didn't spend a lot of time adding new fragrances to my collection. It's been a really rough year. If you don't know, a lot happened. The beginning of the year, car accidents, injuries, sicknesses. 2021's been tough on a lot of people, me specifically. It's also been really rough. So this year I didn't add a lot of fragrances to my collection, but I did add a lot of new fragrances to my collection, and I did get to experience some new scents that were released this year that was really exciting. So I want to share with you the ones that have been added to my collection that I really enjoy and I really appreciate. Now, if I have reviews of any of these fragrances, I think I have reviews of all of them. I will link them below. But let's get started off with the one thing that I'm super excited for, and that has to be, and I just talked about it, is the release of Kiki from House of Matriarch. I'm not going to go into this too much. 2021 has been really rough, but this has been one of the things that was really spectacular. This was a project between Kristin West, House of Matriarch's matriarch, Lola from Lola Scents, and myself. This was just a fun collaboration we did this year. It's basically a tea party with friends, kind of getting together, having some fun. It's fluffy, it's dirty, it's rebellious, it's edgy, it's dusty, it's violet, it's woody, it's a little bit spicy and earthy. It's a great fragrance, something I'm really excited for. And I wanted to share this first because this is something that really made this year extra special. Whenever I get to do fun projects with friends, I really enjoy it. This is what the community is always about, not so much about products, but about collaborating and coming together to create something that you want to see and smell in the world. So yeah, Kiki is something that just made this year really, really special. Talking about coming together and collaborating, I think one of my favorite things that happened in perfumery that happened this year has to be the collaboration between Daniel Gallagher and his wife Mindy, and that is Pearlescent Parfums. Now, Pearlescent Parfums, basically, Mindy was going to Gallagher and she's like, everything you create is more unisex and masculine. So they came together and created fragrances that are a little bit more feminine leaning, a little bit delicious and very personal to who they are. And Mindy as a creative director, and Gallagher, Daniel Gallagher, as a really fantastic, unique, very creative nose, created this line of fragrances that I really love. I think the fragrances smell amazing. They're unique in their own way, but they still fit within the Gallagher universe. And I love the idea of a husband and a wife team coming together to create something fantastic. I think it's wildly successful. I love everything I've tried. And I think that, kind of like how I was saying, like the collaboration between Kristy, Lola, and myself, Kiki, has been wonderful for me. I love seeing that type of energy brought into perfumery. And I think a husband and wife team coming together is just like the natural order of things for a lot of people. And I think that they come together and they create something unique, wearable, fun, and beautiful that still stays true to who Daniel Gallagher, I just say Gallagher usually, but obviously Mindy herself is a Gallagher, who Daniel Gallagher is as a nose too. You can smell the point of view that he has from Gallagher fragrances to Pearlescent Parfums. And since you understand his point of view, you really see Mindy's take on perfumery when you smell Pearlescence, when you compare the two. And I think that is so awesome. And I think she's so creative and so talented. And to work together, I think that that is so awesome. So I definitely like a new favorite fragrance, favorite line, favorite thing for 2021 was the launch of Pearlescent Parfums. I have all three of them here. All of them, I really resonate more with Baklava, but Midnight Jasmine is really special too. I've reviewed these guys, again, I'll link them below, but I think what I really like with Baklava is this is a kind of standalone special fragrance on its own. It's really delicious, it's really sexy. I like how it has a bit of nuttiness to it. It's got that beautiful, deep, intense rose, and it's got like an oiliness to it that's really delicious and really sensual, and has like a unique kind of sensual, unctuous texture to it, which I love kind of smelling and wearing, but they are all fantastic. So out of all of the new houses that came out this year, not too many, But I think the one that I was most excited for, just because I like seeing the creativity and the collaboration between people who understand each other and seeing it manifest into something so successful. Perfumes is just a brand that I'm excited to see where they go and what those two create in the future. If we're talking about unique creations, if we're talking about creativity, if we're talking about why, we're going to be talking about the Ghost in the Shell from État Libre d'Orange. Now, this fragrance I did a first impressions of. I wildly love this scent. And this fragrance is something that I think is so successful. Now, I talked about my love for this just property in general when it comes down to the manga, when it comes down to the movie, when it comes down to the different TV shows. We really won't talk too much about the movie with ScarJo. I've gotten into that. There's a lot of lore and history and social commentary on top of just entertainment that goes into Ghost in the Shell. And what I love is that it kind of takes that and turns it into a perfume, but it also doesn't. So if you don't know the history or care about anime or manga, albeit a very mature one, and you just want to smell futuristic, if you just want to smell more cyberpunk, if you want to smell different and you don't really care, I think this is successful too, and that's what I really like. You don't have to be a fan of the property to enjoy this fragrance, and I love that. And I think that this is a unique take on something that's very traditional and turns it into something futuristic, creative, but also very wearable. It's just very fantastic. And I've just been loving this fragrance. I haven't been wearing it too much because, like I said before, I've been wearing a lot of the iterations of Kiki. So there's a lot of fragrances I wanted to wear more of this year, but I've been wearing a lot of Kiki in order to kind of figure out, you know, to kind of put my 2 cents in on how I wanted it to smell. But now that Kiki is finalized, I will also be wearing a lot of the final version, but I'm excited to wear more of this too. This is probably going to be a scent I'm going to wear more in the springtime during the day, but it is a scent that I can wear pretty much any time. And if you're looking for something different, if you like the idea of a very kind of sterile floral fragrance, a little bit lactonic but not creamy, a little bit bright but not citrusy, I think this is really fantastic. Try and get your nose on it or get a sample of it or something. It's really fantastic. I think this was one of my most excited purchases, like my most excited blind buy. Like the second I saw the marketing for this, I bought it. I was like, I'm gonna buy it anyway just because, but I was so impressed by this fragrance. It really just smells awesome. And knowing État Libre d'Orange, they could have made this unwearable. Looking at you, secretions, but they didn't. They made this wearable, but also very boundary pushing, but also very not boundary pushing. And I've considered doing an updated review on this. So if you would like an updated review on this, let me know. But this is one of my favorite new releases of 2021. I think it's great. And even if it wasn't Ghost in the Shell, even if this was something completely different, if I had smelled this in the store, I would have bought this and wear this and still love it. The scent in and of itself, subtracting from a property that I love, I still think is fantastic and something I like to see in perfumery. I also like to see when people are starting brands, starting new lines, really putting themselves out there. I love indie brands, I love smaller brands, and I love seeing emerging brands. And one of the brands that I've really been enjoying and wearing, and just I like seeing being very successful, is Good Vibes perfume. I don't know why I can't say words today. And their newest fragrance, Whatever, I think is just really great. This is a very strong, sexy fragrance. I don't have too much to say in regards to that. This is just a really good scent. I like the way that I feel when I wear this. This is a very complimentary scent. This is a very kind of provocative fragrance. It smells very just sexy and attention grabbing. I love seeing people creating and putting their creations out there. And I also love seeing that being successful and wildly celebrated. So Whatever is a great fragrance. I think it just smells really special. It smells really fantastic. If you want something that smells sexy, attention grabbing, something that you can wear on a date, this is just something that I love and I did want to feature in this video because I like to showcase brands that aren't so well known. And I think that Good Vibes perfume is definitely going somewhere. I love what they do. I love how they create, and I love that they have a passion for perfumery and they're creating what they want to see in the world out there. So I definitely wanted to include whatever in this list. Now, this next one is a fragrance that I think has been a little polarizing. Not that I think people dislike it, I just think that this isn't going to be for everybody, but I think that the people that really love this really enjoy it, and it's Dolly Parton Scent from Above. This is more of a mature, powdery, very feminine fragrance. It smells really divine. It doesn't smell super high-end, but it also doesn't smell cheap. It smells like a beautiful fragrance you could wear every day. And I know a lot of people really love Dolly and were really excited for this fragrance, and I, loving Dolly, was really excited for this fragrance. And I think this smells exactly like how she wanted it to smell. And I also think that this smells exactly how I would expect her to market it. So when I reviewed this fragrance, I kind of talked about it a little bit. This is supposed to kind of smell like Dolly, like her signature scent, like some woman who's very glamorous, who has a very glamorous beauty routine, who has skincare and makeup and hair care and body oils and powders and shampoos and conditioners and shower gels and detergents. Like, you have this normal smell when you wear your perfumes, and you have that kind of regimen. You have kind of like a signature smell. And I think that this is what that smell is, kind of captured in a bottle. Like, I think one of you guys said, if it's like if you were going to give Dolly a hug. And what I like is that this fragrance smells very non-assuming. It smells very easy, but still very beautiful, and I love it. So this is a beautiful fragrance, something I've been enjoying wearing. I haven't worn it too much, again, because of Kiki, but it is one I'm excited to wear. Another fragrance that I think was very successful, a lot of people were really excited for this, is the Ariana Grande Cloud Intense. This little thing has been going all over. If you like Cloud, if you're looking for a little bit better Baccarat Rouge dupe, I did a whole video on this. This is a great fragrance. I don't need to go too much into it, but I did want to include it because I do think it is successful and a nice fragrance and a great addition to the newer fragrances from 2021. Now, aside from Kiki, I wanted to share with you my favorite release of 2021. And this one, I think, is one that I didn't think I was going to love as much as I love, but this one is fantastic. So as much as I love Kiki, I was a part of that project from start to finish, obviously, so I had expectations. I knew what I wanted to be. I wasn't as surprised because I know Christy's talents, I know Lola's just exquisite taste when it comes to fragrances, and I know my taste when it comes to fragrances. I'm not saying it's exquisite, but I knew it was going to be a good scent. And I was blown away by the final version of it, but I knew it was going to be good. Now, this fragrance I knew was going to be good, but it really took a note that sometimes I'm not as wowed by, even though it's a good note and I like smelling it, and it really turned it into something exceptionally beautiful. And it's unique luxury, and it's the Beverly Hills exclusive. This was made for Beverly Hills Perfumery, and this is one of the most beautiful tobacco fragrances I have ever smelled. Now, I don't want this video to be too crazy long, so I really am not going to sing this as much praise as it deserves, but I was so blown away by this fragrance. It smells so good. Now, to my skin, my olfactive palette canvas for fragrances, I'm very blessed that a lot of fragrances work very well on my skin. A lot of notes, a lot of compositions. I really have a good chemistry, body chemistry to wear scents. And I think that's why I like a lot and I'm not as discerning as other people. I think it's just because a lot of fragrances that are more problematic for other people work well for me. It doesn't mean that they're wrong and I'm right. It's just when it comes down to, for me, a lot of things smell good on me. I'm very blessed. I like to use my mom, for example. we put on the same fragrance. On me, it smells beautiful. On her, it smells like bug spray that's been left out in the sun for a week. It's like, scrub that off of you. You need to go to the hospital and check for contact dermatitis. Like, it's just how my body chemistry works. But tobacco is one of those notes that for some reason smells a little off on me. It's not that I don't like it. I love smelling it on other people, but on me, it smells a little off, but I love it. For me, it can almost smell a little too kind of barbecue sauce. And a lot of times when I smell fragrances or fragrances have a very prominent tobacco note, it's paired with things that kind of will already give you that like barbecue sauce vibe. And I actually really like that. I think that they smell amazing. But it has to be balanced. But since tobacco isn't well balanced on me anyway, it doesn't work. So I'm wary of tobacco fragrances or prominent tobacco notes, not because I dislike them, but because it's one of the notes that doesn't really work for me. But I want it. I want to smell like it because it smells amazing. And Unique Luxuries Beverly Hills exclusive is that fragrance. Now, Montebac from Ormond Jane is a gorgeous fragrance, and I need to add that to my collection. And that's another tobacco fragrance that just works beautifully on my skin. But I like that this is a little bit different than that, so I don't have to just stick with one tobacco. This smells resinous, this smells sweet, this smells sexy, this smells attention grabbing, and it has such a beautiful tobacco in there. So I was super excited for this one because it smells fantastic, and I think that this is my favorite, I know this is my favorite fragrance of 2021 because it's a note that I have such a problem with, and it's so successful on my skin, and I think it's so beautiful. So Beverly Hills exclusive is like my top for 2021, but all of these fragrances definitely are just, I've been so happy to have in my collection. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I am missing a lot of fragrances that were released in 2021. There are some houses that I normally purchase like the second that they mention a new fragrance. I've just been really behind. I know 2022, I'm going to be adding a lot of fragrances to my collection now that I have this room set up, and hopefully 2021 will simmer down and not throw a tantrum and we can move on with our lives. I'll be able to kind of catch up on all the fragrances I need to stock these shelves with. I'd also love to know what fragrances that came out this year that you guys enjoy. What have been your favorite releases of 2021? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.